Running might be the exact reason your belly fat refuses to disappear. You push harder every week, yet your stomach looks exactly the same, and slowly, frustration starts building because nothing seems to be working. You followed the advice, burned calories, stayed consistent, did everything right, but your metabolism is not responding the way you expected it to. And that is where most people start blaming discipline or bad genetics. But what if the real problem is not your effort at all? What if your body is interpreting your workouts as a survival threat, and instead of burning fat, it is protecting it even more aggressively? This is not about willpower. This is about biology and hormonal signals. And once you understand how your body actually burns belly fat, you realize you have been playing this entire game on hard mode. And the worst part is, you were never told there was another way. Because the harder you push, the more stress signals your body receives. And stress is the fastest way to lock visceral belly fat in place. When your heart rate spikes, your brain senses danger, not fat loss progress. So instead of burning fat, your body switches into emergency fuel mode. It chooses glucose because sugar burns faster when survival feels threatened. And once that sugar runs out, cortisol steps in to keep you going. But cortisol does not help you lose fat. It protects energy instead, which means your body breaks down muscle just to create more fuel, leaving you tired, hungry, and stuck in a cycle of fat storage. And this is exactly why so many people feel like they are failing. So the real question is not how hard you train every day. It is whether your body feels safe enough to release stored fat. This is where everything starts to shift in a completely different direction. Because fat loss is not about intensity, it is about biological alignment. What we call easy mode, but not in the way most people think. Easy mode does not mean lazy, it means working with your body's design. It means creating the conditions where fat burning becomes automatic, instead of forcing your system into stress and hoping something changes. Because when your body feels safe, it finally allows fat to be used. And that is where walking becomes more powerful than running. Not random walking, not distracted movement, but intentional metabolic walking. The kind that directly influences hormones, insulin, and fat oxidation. And once you understand this shift, everything starts to feel different. So instead of guessing, we are going to break this down clearly. There are 5 specific walking strategies that change fat burning signals. Each one targets a different part of your metabolism and hormone response, from how your body handles glucose to how it releases stored fat, to how your brain controls stress and your nervous system state. And when you stack them together, the effect becomes much stronger, not just burning calories, but targeting stubborn belly fat at the source. And one of these strategies can change how your body handles food immediately. Before we get into them, you need one critical concept. Your body runs on 2 fuels, glucose and stored body fat. And which one it uses depends entirely on your internal signals. When you train hard, your heart rate rises and your body senses danger. So it switches to fast energy, which means burning glucose. Because glucose is quick, while fat needs oxygen and time to burn. So even if you feel like you are working harder than ever, you are actually using the wrong fuel for fat loss. And when glucose drops, cortisol rises to keep you going, breaking down muscle to create more energy for your body, which leaves fat untouched and your system more depleted over time. And this is the part most people never realize is happening. But when you walk at a controlled pace, everything changes. Your body feels safe. Oxygen becomes available, and fat becomes the main fuel. This is called fat oxidation, and it targets visceral fat directly. So now, it is not about burning more, it is about burning smarter. And once you understand this shift, the strategy becomes much more precise. So how do we control this system intentionally? It starts with the first strategy that changes how your body handles food. Most people think fat loss starts in the gym, but it actually starts right after you eat, because every meal raises blood sugar that your body must process. And if you have belly fat, there is often some insulin resistance, meaning your cells do not respond properly to that glucose. So your body releases more insulin, which increases fat storage, especially around the stomach area where fat is hardest to lose. Here is the shift that changes everything. Instead of sitting after your largest meal, you go for a short walk. Just 10 to 15 minutes at a steady pace is enough, because muscle contraction activates a pathway independent of insulin. A transporter called GLUT4 moves glucose directly into your muscle cells. Think of your muscles like a sponge pulling sugar out instantly, lowering blood sugar and preventing fat storage before it even starts. And this is one of the simplest ways to control your metabolism. Now, even if you walk after meals, intensity still matters, because walking too fast turns your body back into sugar burning mode. And most people do not realize they are crossing that line. So instead of guessing, you use a simple biological rule. You breathe only through your nose the entire walk. The moment you need to open your mouth for air, you have already left the fat-burning zone. Nasal breathing increases carbon dioxide slightly in your blood, which triggers the Bohr effect and improves oxygen delivery to your cells, allowing your mitochondria to burn fat more efficiently. It also releases nitric oxide, improving blood flow and calming your system. So now you are not just walking, you are controlling your metabolism. And this is where most people start seeing real changes. But over time, your body adapts to the same routine and the same walk. Starts producing fewer results than before. So instead of increasing intensity and adding more stress, you add a small amount of weight to your walk. A light backpack, around 5 to 10 pounds, is enough. This forces more muscle activation without triggering stress, engaging your core, glutes, and stabilizing muscles automatically. And this creates a unique hormonal response inside your body. Your bones release a hormone called osteocalcin, which improves insulin sensitivity and supports fat metabolism. So now you are not just burning fat, you are upgrading your system. And this is how you avoid fat loss plateaus over time. But there is one more factor that most people completely ignore, and that factor is stress at the neurological level. Because belly fat is strongly linked to elevated cortisol over time, when you walk while staring at your phone, you activate tunnel vision, which signals stress to your brain, keeping your nervous system in a defensive state. But when you look ahead and scan your environment, you activate optic flow through your peripheral vision, sending a safety signal directly to your brain. This calms the amygdala and lowers cortisol levels, allowing your body to finally release stored fat. So now your walk becomes both physical and neurological recovery, and this is where fat loss becomes much easier to sustain. And if you want to accelerate everything even further, there is a specific window that makes this even more effective. In the morning, your insulin is at its lowest point, and your glycogen stores are partially depleted from overnight, creating the perfect condition to access stored fat directly. So instead of eating immediately, you go for a short walk first. Just 20 minutes at a calm pace is enough, allowing your body to tap directly into fat stores. But there is another layer most people completely miss. Morning sunlight helps regulate your circadian rhythm, improving sleep quality and stabilizing cortisol patterns. And better sleep improves insulin sensitivity the next day, creating a cycle where fat loss becomes easier over time. And this is how simple habits start compounding results. At this point, it might feel too simple to be effective, because everything you have been told says fat loss must be painful. But that belief is what keeps most people stuck. Because your body does not release fat under constant stress, it holds on to energy when it feels unsafe and unstable, and only lets go when conditions feel controlled and predictable. So fat loss is not about punishment. It is about sending the right signals consistently, signals that tell your body when to store and when to burn. And these walking strategies are exactly that. Simple, repeatable signals that shift your biology over time. So instead of fighting your body, you start working with it. And that is when real change finally happens. So tonight, do not plan another exhausting workout. Plan a simple walk that supports your metabolism. Breathe through your nose, look ahead, and stay relaxed. Because sometimes the fastest way to lose belly fat is to slow down and let your body do the work.